Hey there, welcome to Cooking Violet Vixen. Today, this is the much delayed episode. I have still got one thing to cook from the week before, and I'm ready to start with the next week. And between hospital visits, lack of sleep, and work, and lack of energy, this has not happened. So I have to cook this to move forward. Otherwise, anyway. Long story short, today, from this one here, we are cooking quiche Lorraine. And to make this quiche Lorraine, we are doing our own pastry. This one's an easy pastry. It's not one where I knew I was going to be doing it and then in and out for an hour to do the pastry. So pretty easy, but as I said, I just did not have time or energy. Pastry and the quiche. Okay, and this is one that I hope I'm going to be able to cut into slices and freeze so that if I miss out on dinner, like I've done for the last couple of nights due to late nights, I've at least got some food. Alright, so grab this, grab a quiche dish, and we're going to get going. Okay, so we're sort of going to be multitasking a few things at once, and that way we'll get everything done. So first of all, get your oven onto 200. Bless me, I have got bad hay fever today. It was one of the things I had to do yesterday, mowing my lawn. That was not exciting. Okay, and then get yourself a bowl and a sieve, because we're going to sieve flour. And you want a quiche dish. If you've got one of those where you can push the base out, good. I had one of those, but because it was a cheap one, it just rusted and went out of shape and got the shits with it and threw it in the bin. So I always come back to this one. This is one that my mum's had for a long time, and I find it really good for quiche, except obviously the downfall is I cannot lift it out, but it's not going to rust on me. Touch wood, because I'd be worried if it did. So I just grab a tissue and butter, and that's how I will grease it. And then once you've done this, set this aside so we can start and make the flour. Okay, now normally I've got my ingredients weighed out and ready, but I'm just not functioning pretty well at the moment. So episodes may go a bit longer, which obviously if you're still learning to cook, you're going to be happier with, because you're going to feel like you can follow it a bit better. And if you are advanced, then I apologise, I'm sorry. Okay, so what we need is 2.5 cups of flour. So normally when I need 2.5 cups of flour, I always like to grab my 2 cups and then just a half a cup. So get that bowl with that sieve over the top ready. And once again, I apologise for using the white bowl. You just can't seem to see anything in my kitchen. Okay, so there's our 2 cups. Whew, flour everywhere. And then find half a cup. Oh boy, I feel like I'm going to sneeze again. Oh, I've got honeysuckle coming over the fence, and behind that is this tree type thing. It normally has 2 coloured leaves on it, and it doesn't have a flower on it, and the flower has come out and it just smells so vile. I had to do my lawn yesterday, and yeah, pretty much napped the rest of the afternoon after that, unfortunately. So no quiche again. Anyway, quiche is on its way. Alright, so once you sift through that 2.5 cups, remove the sieve. Now if I remember right, we have an egg and a pinch of salt going into that as well. So pinch of salt. That's a big pinch of salt. 1 egg, which I'm going to crack into my cup like I normally do. We need to weigh out the margarine. And then we need a tablespoon of water. So what I'd recommend is crack your egg into your cup and put your tablespoon of water in that once you've whipped it. The reason why you want to whip it is so that you've got your egg at least started. Chuck a fork in that. Grab that 1 tablespoon of water. I don't have that here. I have a tablespoon, however. Alright, so that going in with the egg means that all our liquid is going to go in together. Now, 150 grams of margarine, which it says to soften. So this one's had its day. I melt butter in it in the microwave all the time, so therefore I'm not going to wreck something else. It's good when you have a lot of things for your kitchen. You can say this one's for this one's for this. So we're going to weigh out 150 grams of margarine. Normally you would use butter, but we're going to use margarine. Alright, grab a spoon. And I didn't know how much margarine it was going to be. So I've got this one and I've got the next one, a new one. Oh, you guys really do get to see behind the scenes today, don't you? Lucky you. $150 grams of margarine is a lot, but then for some reason 150 grams of butter doesn't sound a lot. Look at that, awesome. Alright, so we're all in there. Now all I need to do is get it in the microwave. Easier said than done. Keep the scales out. No, we don't need the scales. Never mind. Just put that book aside. I should have my book stand. I might go and get it in the meantime. Alright, we don't want that super melted, so just give that 30 seconds. Remove anything we don't need, because otherwise it's just going to be like playing Tetris all day. As I said, I don't need the scales anymore, so there's no point in keeping them out. What I will do is weigh out everything else in the meantime so that I can put some more ingredients away. There's no point in having things like cheese out of the freezer. And the rest of it is going to be whipped up in a jug. So just get one of those ready. Oh, buy extra margarine. I don't need you. Okay. So let's see what this looks like. Okay. It'll probably do because it's margarine, it's not butter. Oh good, I've got a fork here. Alright, so what I normally like to do is make a well in the middle. I do explain myself. A well is basically what it is. Like a donut, a hole in the middle. Get that egg and water in and start and mix it, and then just start and bring that margarine in. Scrape the jug out with a teaspoon. Alright, perfect. Alright, that's looking somewhat similar to the start of the pastry. I think the yellow margarine is going to give it a more yellowy colour too. Might be wrong, I don't know. And I realise that in all my cleaning up I am going to need some more flour, so I'll whistle that back out in a minute. We do need to roll the flour out. Grab that flour back out and get some onto a flat surface. Now we don't need to roll this too big, it's just basically big enough to line the inside of the flan dish. So pop some down on your bench. I'll be alright on my chopping board. Not too much, we don't want it to be over floury. Okay, so grab this pastry. Okay, now start and bring the pastry all together with your hands. Just by simply squeezing it together in that bowl. And knead it in the bowl. Okay. Now out onto our bench. Just make sure you get everything into it. This margarine in the pastry probably isn't too bad, really. I think it's given it a more yellowy colour. I don't know, maybe it's my eyesight. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to roll it. Make sure you've got plenty of swinging room. Alright, roll it out. As I said, just big enough to cover the flan dish. This rolling pin is so heavy, which makes it great because you don't need to put as much effort in as those wooden ones. So I advise, if you are cooking a lot, grab yourself a heavy rolling pin. Definitely won't regret the decision. Believe it or not, you can pick these up in op shops. Can't remember where Mum got this one from, but I think once she got this one, the wooden one went somewhere. Probably got lost or something. Because you can do this with so much less effort. Alright, I've probably gone overboard with the rolling on this. So, how am I going to pick that up, if you're wondering? You roll it on itself. And then you slide it in. Beautiful, look at that. Okay, any excess, you got two choices. Keep it in the freezer or throw it in the bin. Since I've been making pastry, I've found it so much better than the other pastry, which unfortunately I think I have to go back to in a day or two for another recipe. So I'm going to be disappointed in the difference. But maybe what I will do is I will weigh this pastry out, whatever's left, and freeze it. I'll get those scales back out later, don't stress. Okay, because that's probably quite a bit of pastry there. Okay, beautiful. So hopefully yours looks like that. Otherwise, help. Okay, Pastry is one of those things that the more you cook it, the more confident you're going to get. Okay, so you can either do this as small ones or a big one. I like to do a big one, and grab a fork and we're going to prick the bottom of it. This is just so that it doesn't rise up and go all stupid. Okay, now are we ready to start on our filling? Of course we are. Alright, the best thing about quiche Lorraine is if you love bacon, it is the bacon quiche, if you're not sure what to call it. So I'm going to grab this bacon, set this one aside because we're actually going over to the oven top now. That's the stove top, to make the bacon, cook the bacon. So we're going to grab a frying pan and get that nice and hot. Okay, so turn this frying pan on. I've just put cooking spray in it because I don't want too much fat in it. And what we're going to do with the bacon is we're going to cut it into strips. So get some, what do you call them, kitchen scissors. And just cut them into strips while that's getting hot. Hard trying to juggle everything. Alright, I'll just borrow this bowl. Okay, so you don't want that rind part, but we want this to be pretty crispy. That's it. Once we get it all in, we can sort it out and layer it a bit better. Just chuck it in. Doesn't matter if you get a little bit of fat in it because we want it to get really crunchy from what I can believe. So we want them browned and then we're going to let them cool. So they won't take long to cool, by the way. That's it. We can just start to hear it sizzle now. Beautiful. Alright, one more bit. Okay. Yeah, kitchen scissors are the best for this. I used to use a knife and cut it, but you can get so much better cutting edges on with the scissors because you can trim. Alright, look at that. Chuck that gristly fatty bit in the bin. Okay, wash hands. Alright, so grab something to turn those over. I'd probably just suggest a pair of tongs, should be fine. Grab those. If you can remember where you keep them. Alright, beautiful. Oh, look at that. If you're a bacon lover, that's smelling pretty good right now. So I better open a window. I don't have an exhaust fan in my kitchen. I open windows. Alright. Okay, so while this is frying away, I'm just going to go and measure out that cup of cheese and the cream, because what we're actually going to be doing is whipping the cream with the eggs. I don't really think we need to whip it too much though, so I think I'm just going to whisk it. I'm imagining like whipped cream that we're going to put on top of a cake or something, and I don't want it that whipped, so we're going to whisk it. We're not making a cake, we're making a quiche, the one with bacon. Alright. Keep that bacon sizzling away. You want it brown, but not, we're not making croutons or bacon bits. Bacon bits, not croutons. Alright, so let's go do that cheese. This might sound silly, but I'm going to leave it at that. And the only reason I say that is because it's more cooked on one side. And that way I'm still going to get a bit of a texture of a really cooked with a not so cooked. Okay, so set that aside and let's go do the rest of it. We need that to cool. Okay, so grab that jug. I didn't measure out that cheese. Haha, cheated. I was actually cleaning down the bench. Alright, 300 mils of cream. I know this is 300 mils left in here because I had this last week. What did I made something last week with cream anyway. Yep, that's still good. Alright. So we just want that to drain into there. So what I'm going to do is turn it upside down in a cup, just so we can get the rest of it out in case it's not quite 300 mils. Okay. So the filling's going to be probably the easy part, because we're literally just chucking everything into it. Bacon pieces go over the top. When are we adding the cheese? The cheese is going to go on the top or the bottom. Anyway, I'll sort it out as we go. Okay, so we're back. Sorry, I just had to go and do the washing. Alright, so that's all I'm going to get out of that. I'm sorry. So we need to find another fork again because we're whisking eggs. Okay, cream container in the bin. Alright, so our cream's in here. 2 eggs. Give each one a whip before you put it in. Alright, perfect. Alright, get that whisk going. Okay, a pinch of salt. Now you don't want too much salt because bacon's salty. So a couple of cranks. Pepper, I like a lot of pepper, but some people don't, so I'll just do a couple of cranks again. And a pinch of nutmeg. Nutmeg's used in a lot of savoury and sweet dishes, just to give it a little bit of a flavour. Pinch is basically just till you can see some forming on there. Alright, that is what is almost known as a savoury custard. So if you're making anything egg dishes and it's not sweet, it's known as a savoury custard. Good to know. Alright, our bacon's cooled. Don't ask me how I know, but I know. Alright, so position it all about. You don't want to be the one person that gets no bacon. You probably want to be the person that gets all the bacon. So you can do these in individual ones. I personally do not have those little mini quiche ones that you can buy because I've always done them this way. They're a possibility for me. The only reason I'm thinking that is I could get them to the cooking stage or partially cook and then freeze them. So they're a possibility, but then they're a bit of fiddling around. So at the moment I generally cook for 2 people. With a sick mum, unfortunately, it's one and a half. So sometimes yes, sometimes no. So some stuff ends up being my lunch or in the freezer. Just depends on the day. Alright, so we're going to tip this over the top now. Beautiful, look at that. Alright, now our final ingredient is that 1 cup of cheese that I told you I was going to cut up, but I didn't. Ooh. I did the naughty trick too. I took the bacon off and walked away without turning off the hot plate. Don't cook while you're tired, kids. Alright, get your 1 cup measurement. So I keep my grated cheese in the freezer and get it out as I need it. That way I get no surprise bits. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh, look at that. That's so good. Alright. Now, this is a tricky, intricate cooking time. Not really, but I remember reading. So we're on 200. We're going to put this in the oven at 200. Come over to my oven. In it goes on the top shelf. Okay. Now it was 200 for 15 minutes, and then we're going to drop it down for 10 minutes at 180. So let's go. Okay, so the second 10 minutes has gone off, and we're just going to pull this little beauty out of the oven. Look at that. That should be ready. Just grab a knife. I've got lots of them, it's just a matter of which one to grab. And just stab it. Make sure that your custard's cooked through. I would give that an extra 5 minutes. So I'm going to put that back in for 5 because I just want it to be golden. So 5 minutes and we'll be back. So you can see what that extra 5 minutes has done. That looks so good. Enjoy that hot or cold with salad or whatever you like. And if you're like me, you're probably going to freeze a little bit of it, and I reckon that will freeze really, really well. So I'm going to catch you next time cooking with Violet Vixen. Bye.